Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Muhammad Bilal, working as a lecturer at University of Education, and I'm teaching you the sociolinguistics. So today I'm going to talk about one of the most important topic of sociolinguistics, that is language, dialect, and isogloss. So language, as you know, is one of the most important component in order to communicate anything, which is a tool for the communications. So the today subtopics are consisted of language and levels of language, relationship between language and society, difference between language and dialect, and then difference between dialect and accent, and at the end I would talk about isogloss. So what is language? Language basically is a system that associates sounds or gestures with meanings in a way that uses words and sentences. So language basically is a tool that is used for communication. If we have something in our mind, if we want to communicate anything, we need a language. So without language we won't be able to communicate our ideas or the thoughts. So the ideas or the thoughts are communicated with the help of language, either in the form of words or the sentences. The term language can be used to refer to a variety of concepts, things such as the particular form of words and speech used by the people of a country, area, or social group, or the method of human communication using spoken or the written words. So actually, language is used in different culture, regions, even in religions, countries, areas, and in different social groups. So when we talk about the society, so we basically categorize it into three levels: lower class, middle class, and the upper class. So in all three classes, the people use language. Similarly, if we talk about the country or the area, where if we people come from the different areas, so they use a language. Sometimes they speak the similar language, and sometimes they speak the different languages. A further meaning of language is the style of types of words used by a person or group, which is a topic generally studied within a sociolinguistics. So in sociolinguistics, what we do, basically we study the relationship between society and the language. So as I have already discussed in the previous slides, the language is used in every society, in every region, or even in every religion. So if we want to communicate the appropriate meaning with the help of language, we would have to take help from the sociolinguistics. We need to understand the true concept of the sociolinguistics, because in everyday life we are come across in a situation where we have to communicate with the different people, and we use language according to the context and according to the situation. So in order to understand the true sense of language in terms of their society or in terms of their communication, you would have to understand the better concept of sociolinguistics. Language is purely human and non-instinctive method of communicating ideas, emotions, and desires by means of voluntarily produced symbols. So next I'm going to talk about the levels of language. There are basically different levels where the language is used. If we talk about the first level or the primary level of language, so that is phonetics and phonology. So phonetics and phonology both are concerned with the study of sounds. So as I am speaking here in front of you, I'm recording my lecture, so I produce certain sounds. So when we study all these sounds together, so basically we are dealing with the phonetics and phonology. So phonetics and phonology is mainly concerned with the study of sounds and how the sounds are produced, how they are transmitted, and how they are perceived. So all these issues related to sounds are discussed in phonetics and phonology. So this is the primary or the basic step of a language. So next step of the language, or the next level of the language, is morphology. So the next level of language is morphology, which is concerned with the study of words or the word formation. When we combine different sounds, so it shapes like its word. So when we study the words, we are dealing with the lexical or the morphology. So how the words are formed, how they are generated, and how they are originated, how different techniques and the strategies are used to form the words. So all these techniques and the strategies are discussed in morphology. So morphology is the study of morphemes, which is the smallest unit of a grammar. So next level of the language is syntax, that is the next step of the morphology. So as we combine different words together, we make a sentence, or when we study the sentence analysis, we are basically concerned with the syntax. So syntax deals with the study of sentence structure. So next level of language is semantics, that is concerned with the study of meanings. So pragmatics and semantics both are concerned with the study of meanings. But as far as semantics is concerned, it deals with the literal meaning or the surface meaning of the language, whereas pragmatics deals with the study of contextual meaning, how the meanings are communicated in different contexts or in different situations. So there are basically different levels of language. The first level that I have discussed earlier, phonetics and phonology, that is related to the study of sounds. So when we combine different sounds, we move towards the morphology, that is the study of words formation. Or when we combine different words in a sequence, so then it becomes sentence. Or when we are going to study the sentence analysis, we are basically concerned with the syntax. So every sentence has the different meanings. Some of them are the literal meaning, and sometimes the sentences communicate the pragmatic meaning, which are concerned with the use of context. So next topic of discussion is language and society. So as I am teaching you the sociolinguistics, so language and society both are directly interlinked with each other, or both are associated with each other. So sociolinguistics investigates the relationships between language and society, with the goal being a better understanding of the structure of language and of how languages function in communication. So in order to understand the true sense of language with respect to society, you have to investigate their relationship between language and the society. So when we study the language with respect to the society, basically we are dealing with the sociolinguistics. Language choices convey information about the social relationships between people, social status of people, setting of interaction, topic of discussion, and the purpose of discussion. So language communicates different meanings in different situations. For example, if we are dealing with the different class of the society, we have to communicate the different meanings. When we are talking about one particular region or the area, so we have to communicate the meaning according to its regional variation, or sometime we communicate the meaning according to their social status or the social class. So next I'm going to talk about what are included in the society. So society is the major component of the sociolinguistics. So without society, we won't be able to study with respect to the society. So society is one of the most important component uh, of sociolinguistics. So when it comes to society, three elements are considered, including people, place, and the social system. So when we talk about the people, so every society is consisted of a number of people. So when the people are living together, basically they are living in a society, or they are representing the society. And the place where they are living, they speak, or the people use the language according to the space, according to the place, or according to area or the region. And on the other hand, the social system, yes, the people also use language according to the social system, according to the social society, or according to the social status as well. Language and people. So language and people, they are directly associated with each other. So people use different languages according to their age. So even if we talk about one particular language, so there is a lot of variation within the one language according to the change of age. The older people and the youngster people, they simultaneously speak the different variations of the same language. For example, if I talk about the Punjabi language, the Punjabi that is used by the adult or the youngster in our society is different from the Punjabi that is used by the older people, because the older people, they speak Punjabi with true pronunciation, or having some cultural background, whereas the youngster or the teenagers are concerned, when they speak Punjabi in the same community or in the same society, they try to use more sophisticated words. They try to mix up some words from English language, or even some words from the Urdu language. So that is the variation within the same language, that is Punjabi, due to the change of the age. So next one is that is the gender. It is also directly part of the language and the people, because people are segregated into two gender, either they are male or the female. So when the female use particular language, they have some specific lexical items, or they have some specific sentence structure, or even they are differ in terms of pronunciation. For example, the female, they try to convince people through arguments, they try to bring logical evidences in order to impose the decisions. So whereas male, they are more aggressive in nature, so that's why they use harsh language or the harsh words when they are going to communicate with one another or each other. So the next point of the language and people is race. So there are certain ethnic groups in our society, because society is consisted of different elements, and one of the most important element of the society is the ethnic group. So when we talk about one particular ethnic group, so they have the particular or the specific features of particular language. For example, there are certain ethnic group in Pakistan. Even if we talk about the Sindh province, there are certain ethnic groups which are divided on the basis of language. For example, in Karachi, we can observe Muhajir and the local, and there are certain ethnic group which are representing the Pakhtun community. So all these groups representing the one ethnic group, and all three or four ethnic groups are speaking different languages that represent their ethnic group. So next one is nationality. Yes, in order to identify one's nationality, you may have to understand their language. So national language most oftenly used in all over the world when they are going to travel from one country to another country, or one region to another region. So the people having different background, they speak different languages. For example, the Pakistani people, they may use the Urdu, Punjabi, or other regional languages identically. And if we talk about the India, they have some, they have their own languages in order to communicate globally. And similarly, in China, they have their own identity with respect to their language. So next one is a class. So every society is divided into different social classes, including lower class, middle class, and the upper class. So every class speak the different language. For example, the lower class, if they are going to communicate within the lower class or within the community, so most of the time they use some aggressive language or slang expression or the taboo words that represents that they belong to the lower class. Or if we talk about the middle class, when they are going to use the same language, so they try to use more sophisticated words. While speaking Punjabi, they try to mix up certain words from Urdu language or some words that represents their identity. And the upper class, that is also known as the elite class, when they are using Punjabi language, they mix up or they switch from Punjabi to English, or even English to Punjabi. So there are a lot of words which have been taken from the English language. So there is a distinction or certain differences due to the change of the social class. So next point is language and place. This is one of the most important point, because wherever the place is used, the people use language according to their place or according to their region. So this is what we call the regional language, or we may also known as the local languages or the indigenous languages as well. In Pakistani context, yes, the people come from the different places. Some come from the Sindh, Balochistan, KPK, and the Punjab as well. So all people that come from the different places, they all speak different languages according to their region or according to their society or the area or the city. The next one is language and the social system. So language is directly associated with our social system. So social system is consisted of power, ideology, and the policy. So when it comes to power, we are directly linked with the politics. So in political system or in social system, the language is used as a power or as a ideology, or it is also the a part of policy making. So in this particular diagram, you can easily observe, so language is uh, directly associated with the people, with the place, and with the social system. So I have already discussed all these types of society with respect to language. So how language is directly associated with all three elements of the society, including people, place, and the social system. So sociolinguistics are interested in explaining. The first one is why we speak differently in different social contexts. So there is a question why we speak differently in different social contexts. So language is used in a different way according to different social context. If the context is changed, the language is also changed, or there will be a variation within the same language. What are the social functions of language? This is also investigated in the sociolinguistics, and how language is used to convey social meanings. So in this example, the mother is asking to her son, why you are late from the school. So you can easily identify how the student, his name is Ray, how he is going to use the language in different social context or in different social setting. So the Ray, hi mom, hi, you are late, Ray, yeah, that bastard soot bucket kept us in again. Mom, Nana's here. Ray, oh sorry, where is she? So in this particular example, you can easily identify the language of the child or the student, how he is going to talk with his mother. He is using a very different words or the lexical items in order to communicate the effective meanings. So in example 2, the same student or the same boy is here. uh, Ray, good afternoon, sir. Principal, what are you doing here at this time? Ray, Mr. Sutton kept us in, sir. So in this particular example, the tone of the language is different as compared to the example number 1. So here the child is using very sophisticated words, or he is giving the respect to the principal by using different lexical items. So here is the comparison between example number 1 and 2. So as I have already talked to you, so there are certain differences in terms of lexical items and in terms of stress and the intonation pattern as well. So greeting, here is the analysis of example number 1 and the example number 2. So in greeting, hi uh, versus good afternoon. So hi is what we call the informal word, and good afternoon seems to be more formal in tone. Address, now the child is addressing to mom and to the principal, so he is using certain lexical items like mom and sir. Referring to the teacher, so in first example, when he is talking to his mother, he is referring to a teacher while saying that bastard suit bucket. So it means that he is using a very different name, more aggressive in nature or the tone, as compared to when he was talking to the principal about the teacher while saying Mr. Sutton. So referring to the event, again, what was the reason why he was late and why he was there at the afternoon? So while talking to his mother, he referred to a particular event by saying, okay, he kept us in again. It means that this particular activity or the event has already been done in the past. And in second example, he used the sentence or the phrase kept us in. So here is the analysis of the example number 1 and 2, how the language is used in different context according to the change of social context. So Ray's utterance tell his mother why he is late, his choice of words or the lexical items, how he feels about the teacher concerned. So in second one tells us something about his relationship with his mother. So when he is talking to his mother, he seems to be more flexible and informal as compared to when he was talking to his principal. The clues we can get from the speech: the relationship with mother, intimate and friendly, that is informal. The relationship with the principal, that is quite formal, distant and respectful. So we use language to ask for and give people information. We use it to express indignation and annoyance, as well as admiration and respect. Language and dialect. Language and dialects are ambiguous terms. Most of the people think that both language and dialects are same. Actually, they are different to each other. These terms represent a simple dichotomy in a situation that is almost infinitely complex. So language can be used to refer either to a single linguistic norm or to a group of related norms, and dialect to refer to one of the norm. So language is a broader term, and one of the component or the part of the language is dialect, because language is the whole system and the one of the component of the system is dialect. So when we combine different dialects together within the same language, then they representing the language. For example, Punjabi, which is spoken across the Pakistan or even across the Punjab. So if we are going to move Multan, so they people speak the one particular dialect of Punjabi language, and when we move to Lahore, we can observe a different dialect which is used by the Lahori people. And similarly, the people who are living there in Faisalabad, they also use Punjabi in a different way. So they are basically speaking different dialect of the Punjabi language. So when we combine all dialects together, so they are representing the language that is Punjabi. So dialect, a variety of a language spoken by a group of people that is characterized by systematic features including phonological, lexical, grammatical that distinguish it from other varieties of that same language. So dialect represents a particular variety of a language having certain features including pronunciation, words, and grammar. So dialect is the part of language. So idiolect, another term which is also used in dialect, the speech variety of an individual speaker, or we can say the individual way of speaking or writing is also known as idiolect, or they are also known as individual dialect. So as I have already discussed, when we combine different dialects together, so they are representing the language. Or when we are combine different idiolects together, they are representing the dialect. So dialect is the part of language, whereas idiolect is a part of dialect. So in this particular diagram, so dialect A, dialect B, and the dialect C. So all having the different dialects of the same language. So language is represented by different dialects. So this is a quantum of the idiolects that represents the dialects. So in dialect A, idiolect E, idiolect B, and idiolect C. So when we combine all three idiolects together, so they are representing a particular dialect. So idiolect is an individual way of speaking and writing. So next I'm going to talk about the accent and the dialect. They are very ambiguous terms. Most of the people think that they having the similar meaning. As far as the dialect is concerned, it deals at three levels, including pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. Whereas accent is concerned with the pronunciation only. So that's the difference between dialect and the accent. So we can also say accent is the part of the dialect because it only deals with the pronunciation. So dialect also deals with the pronunciation, having other features including vocabulary and grammar as well. So next term is isoglosses. So this is a term that is used in sociolinguistics or in a language variation. Isogloss basically is a geographic boundary of a certain linguistic feature such as the pronunciation of a vowel, the meaning of a word, or the use of some morphological or syntactic feature. So when we are going to draw a line or mark the boundary in order to make a certain linguistic feature including pronunciation, vocabulary, and the grammar as well. An isogloss is basically an area where people pronounce a particular word or sound the same way and the other way is different from the pronunciation in the neighboring area. For example, in Germany, you can draw a line through the country, one on one side people say das and on the other they say that, meaning that. So they are going to represent or they are going to pronounce the word that in two different ways or having two different pronunciation. So one particular part of the country speak in a different way, another part of the country speak in another way. So when we mark this particular boundary with a line, so that particular process basically is called isogloss. So these dialects are what standard German is based on. So even people who say that will write this. Thank you very much for listening. So I have discussed various aspects of language, dialect and isogloss. Thank you once again.